What if the Roman Empire never fell? Imagine a modern world where the map looks completely different. No France as we know it. No Germany as we know it. No Italy as a separate country. Maybe no United States in the same form. Instead, one ancient superpower continues to shape history for centuries. Rome. At its height, the Roman Empire stretched from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Syria, and from the Atlantic Ocean to the deserts of the Middle East. It controlled massive cities, powerful armies, trade routes, roads, ports, laws, and tens of millions of people. But in our timeline, the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD. The last emperor was removed. Rome's authority shattered. Europe entered a new age. But what if that never happened? What if Rome survived? Rome did not fall in one night. It weakened slowly. Its borders were too long. Its army was too expensive. Its politics were unstable. Its economy was under pressure. And its enemies were growing stronger. The empire became too large to control. So Rome was divided into two halves, East and West. The Eastern Roman Empire, ruled from Constantinople, remained rich and powerful. But the West became weaker. Rome was sacked. Provinces were lost. Germanic kingdoms rose. And in 476, the Western Empire finally collapsed. But in this alternate timeline, Rome changes before it is too late. A strong emperor reforms the army. The tax system becomes more stable. The provinces receive more local power. And the Eastern and Western halves work together instead of drifting apart. Rome does not collapse. It transforms. The first major change would be Europe. In our history, after Rome fell, Europe split into many kingdoms. The Franks. The Visigoths. The Lombards. The Anglo-Saxons. These kingdoms eventually helped create medieval Europe. But if Rome never fell, many of them might never rise in the same way. France might not become France. Spain might not become Spain. Germany might remain a Roman frontier. Italy might stay the heart of the empire. Instead of many competing kingdoms, Europe could become one giant Roman system. Roman law would dominate government. Roman roads would connect cities. Roman armies would guard the borders. Roman identity could remain stronger than local nationalism. Europe might become more unified much earlier. But there would be a darker side. Local cultures might have less freedom. Languages might be absorbed. Independent nations might never develop. A Roman Europe might be more stable. But also more controlled. Language would also change. In our timeline, Latin evolved into Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. But if Rome survived, Latin might remain the language of government, law, science, and power. A modern Roman world might not speak English as the global language. It might speak a version of Latin. The internet, diplomacy, military commands, and official documents could all sound very different. English might never become the world's dominant language. Rome's language might. Religion would change too. In our timeline, Christianity became powerful after Rome's fall. As emperors disappeared in the West, the Church gained influence. Popes became political figures, not just religious leaders. But if the Roman Empire survived, the emperor might remain the most powerful Christian ruler in the West. The Church could become more controlled by the imperial government. The Pope might have less independence. This could create a more unified Christian world. But it could also create serious conflict. What happens when faith and empire become almost the same thing? What happens when one ruler tries to control religion across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East? A surviving Rome might prevent some wars. But it could also create new ones. Now comes the biggest question. Would the world be more advanced? Some people imagine that if Rome never fell, humanity might reach modern technology centuries earlier. Rome had roads, aqueducts, concrete, legal systems, organized cities, and powerful engineering. If that stability continued, maybe knowledge would not be lost. Maybe trade would stay stronger. Maybe cities would keep growing. Maybe science and technology would develop faster. Perhaps steam power, medicine, navigation, and industry would arrive much earlier. But that is not guaranteed. Rome was powerful, but it was also conservative. A strong empire can protect knowledge. But it can also resist change. If the Roman elite depended on slave labor, why invent machines? If the state controlled education, would dangerous new ideas be allowed? If stability mattered more than innovation, progress might slow down. So a surviving Rome could create a more advanced world. Or a world trapped by tradition. The rest of the world would also change. If Rome remained strong, the rise of Islam in the 7th century would face a very different empire. North Africa might stay Roman longer. The Middle East might become a permanent Roman frontier. Trade routes between Europe, Africa, and Asia might remain under Roman control. Later, the age of exploration could also change. Instead of Spain, Portugal, Britain, France, and the Netherlands building empires, one Roman superstate might dominate overseas expansion. The Americas might not be colonized by separate European kingdoms. They might be claimed by Rome. The British Empire might never rise. The Spanish Empire might never exist. The United States might never be born in the same way. The entire global balance of power could be Roman. But would this world be better? That is the real question. Rome brought roads, laws, cities, and order. But Rome was not a modern democracy. It was an empire built on conquest, hierarchy, slavery, military power, and control. Even if it survived and reformed, it might remain authoritarian. People might have peace, but not freedom. They might have stability, but no real voice. They might have roads, but not rights. A Roman world could be organized and powerful. But it could also be a world where one empire controls everything. No independent France. No independent Britain. No independent Germany. No modern Europe as we know it. Just Rome. Everywhere. By the modern age, Rome would have to change. It might become a huge imperial federation. Ancient symbols with modern technology. Roman eagles on aircraft. Latin commands in military bases. Marble government buildings beside skyscrapers. Modern highways built over ancient roads. The empire might become the greatest superpower in history. Or it might become too large, too strict, and too unstable to survive forever. Because every empire faces the same problem. The bigger it becomes, the harder it is to control. In the end, the fall of Rome created chaos. But it also created possibility. New kingdoms. New languages. New cultures. New nations. New ideas. The world we know is shaped not only by Rome's greatness but by Rome's collapse. So if the Roman Empire never fell, humanity might be more unified. Maybe more advanced. Maybe more organized. But also maybe less free. Less diverse. And trapped under one eternal empire. So the real question is not just, what if Rome never fell? The real question is, would we actually want to live in that world? Tell us what you think in the comments. And subscribe for more alternate history stories.